Hello, welcome to my channel, whatever this is. I'm playing piano here. I wrote a book about just piano voicings and I wanted to share this with the world. So this channel is going to be kind of about showing you my ideas, and you can take these. They're free for you. Practice them however you'd like. Do what you need. For me, this is this is supposed to help me and any of my students here just get better at playing music. So let's get better at playing music today. So the first concept I have here is we're going to be kind of like in the intermediate level, I guess. So I'll bring in some basic concepts, but I don't really know what your level is, so bear with me if you're a complete beginner. And if you're completely advanced, then you know this stuff. Stick around, you might learn something. All right, so let's learn some drop twos. Let's talk about the concept of a drop two. So the drop two is based off, it's an open voicing in piano. So we have like closed voicings, then we have open voicings. The closed voicings we know as like block chords. We could think of this as, let's take like C major 7, okay? Drop twos are really nice. We'll do these in 7th chords today. So drop twos are really nice. We'll start with the block chord first to find this drop two. So let's play C, E, G, and B, okay? And you can do this with 2 hands, okay? C, E, G, and B. So what we want to know first is we need to know all of the inversions of the block chord in closed positions. So C in root position, then you go up to E in first inversion, G in second inversion, B in third inversion, and then back to C in root position. And then you come back down to B, down to G, down to E, and then down to C. That's the first step to understanding the drop two. You have to understand this first before we move on, okay? So maybe you need to practice this a couple of times. Just get that under your fingers, and make sure we know what notes are in this chord, okay? It's 1, 3, 5, and 7. C, E, G, and B. Those are the only notes we're going to be using, okay? So to find the drop two, there are 2 ways of looking at it. The first way is taking the block chord, C, E, G, B, take the second note from the top and drop it down an octave. And now, in our hands, we should have a G, a C, an E, and a B natural. This gives us what's called a drop two, okay? This is how we find the drop two. So you go up in every inversion and do that same concept. So if I'm in root position, C, E, G, B, I take G, which is the second note from the top, and then take it down an octave. That gives us drop two, okay? If I go up to the next inversion in closed position, which is E, G, B, and C, take the second note from the top, which is B, take him down an octave. Cool. Great, that gives us the next drop two inversion. To the next inversion, which in closed position, G, B, C, and E. Take C, which is the second note from the top, drop him down an octave. That gives the next inversion. And let's do one more. B, C, E, G. Take the second note from the top, which is E. Take him down the octave. That gives you your last drop two inversion. So that's the first way we learn how to find the drop two in all the different versions. The second way that you can think about it is we're only using C, E, G, and B. And something I notice is when I play C, E, G, and B and I have drop twos, I'll get specific intervals in each hand. So let's go back to our block chord, closed inversion, root position, major 7th chord. C, E, G, and B. Okay. Let's make it a drop two. So take that G, which is the second note from the top, take him down the octave. Perfect. Now we got him. If you notice, in your left hand, you have a fourth, a perfect fourth, G to C. That's a perfect fourth. In your right hand, you have a perfect fifth, which is E and B natural. In the middle, you have a major third, and then on the outers here, you've got a major 10th. But we're going to just focus right now on the left hand and the right hand. When we go up to every inversion, you're going to have some type of combination between a perfect fourth, a perfect fifth, a perfect fifth, a perfect fourth, a perfect fourth, or a perfect fifth and a perfect fifth. So, for example, let's do it with C is the bass note. Okay, C is the bass note. And I want to make a drop 2, this open voicing, as C is the bass note, which means I need to have some combinations of a 4 and a 5, a perfect fourth and a perfect fifth in either the right hand and the left hand. I got to make sure I know what notes are in the chord, which is C, E, G, and B. So, what's the first thing I can do? C to G, that's a perfect fifth. Perfect. There we go. So that means in my left hand, I have a perfect fifth. In my right hand, I need to have either a fourth or fifth, depending on what the notes are. So what's left? I have C and G. I need an E and a B. So I need the closest thing here. I'll start on B right here. So that means I either do a fifth or a fourth. And it looks like, to get the right note, B to E. That gives you your perfect fourth. So this inversion, C, G, B, E, that gives you right there a fifth and a fourth. This we can look at numbers too. 1 in the bottom note, 5 is the middle, 7, and then 3 on top. Okay? These are all ways of looking at it. So we have a fifth and a fourth. Okay? If I want to start on any note in the chord, let's say I want to start on E, okay? Take the same concept. It's either a fifth and a fourth, fourth and a fifth, fourth and a fourth, or fifth and a fifth. So if I have E, I need some type of fourth or fifth. And it looks like E to B is my best choice, is the only thing I can do. That's a perfect fifth. Then the next thing up, C and G. Fifth and a fifth. Bam. So fifth, fifth. What if I want to start on G? Start on G here. Okay. Fourth and a fifth, fifth and a fourth, fourth and a fourth, fifth and a fifth. Let's see. G to C is going to work, so that's a perfect fourth. Then the next one, E to B, that's a perfect fifth. So this inversion, we have a fourth and then a fifth. Then one more, let's find B. So B, we'll have B to E, which is a perfect fourth. And then G to C, which is also a perfect fourth. So I have a fourth and a fourth. Okay, so that's the second way that we can figure these out. So let's recap. We've got our major 7 block chord closed inversion. We got to know these in every inversion first. I recommend doing the side note. I recommend doing this with bunny fingers like this to start off with. Some people will do like with one hand or the other hand. That's fine too. But for the purposes of like understanding the drop 2, it's nice to do the bunny fingers because it gives you the ability to know that we're playing with one hand and another hand versus just one hand only. So, and this one you can do however you want, whatever your bunny fingers are. It could be these two, these two, these two. It doesn't matter as long as it's just 2 and 2. Okay? Cool. So we got to learn this first. Then the next thing we do is we got to figure out the drop 2. So now that I understand the drop 2, I like to start the drop 2 in root position. That's my first one with C in the bass. So C, G, B, and E, which is 1, 5, 7, and 3. Okay. Then I like to go up each note of the chord. So if I think about what the chord is C, E, G, and B. I want to go up every inversion of a drop 2 in that progression. So C, is going to be the first one. This is root position. C, G, B, and E. The next one would be E, B, C, and G. The next one would be G, C, E, and B. And the final one would be B, E, G, and C. Okay. Then what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to go up and down in these inversions. So let's go up and down in these inversions. So we'll start on the first, this is root position, which is technically the first inversion, I guess. It's kind of funny. I don't know why this is, I'll look at YouTube, figure this out for me. I don't know why, but root position, I don't know why this is not the first inversion. This technically should be the first inversion, but it's root position. Okay, whatever. So this is root position. This is the first one we go to. Next one is E. Okay, that's the first inversion. Next one is G. That's the second inversion. The last one is B. That's the third inversion. And then I go back up to the octave, back to C, root position again. And then I come back down to third inversion, second inversion, first inversion, root position. That's a really pretty sound. So what you want to do to start off with, I think, as a practice, don't even practice with a metronome yet. Just get used to like moving from chord to chord. Now there's a couple of ways I like to think about this. As you're moving from chord to chord, because this will take some time, but as you move from chord to chord, think about a couple of things. You have to think about the shapes. In piano, guitar, vibraphone, even saxophone and flute and horn instruments, there's shapes to all of this to help you identify the chord a little bit better, to help you identify the sounds a little bit better. Think about these as shapes. So if I've got my root position, we've got a 5 and a 4. Right? That's one shape. Also, in that shape, you can still, there's other shapes inside of that too. So I've got a 5 in my left hand, a 4 in my right hand, a major third in the middle, and then a major 10th in the outers. See that? So that's one shape. This is root position, drop 2 shape. Okay? As I move up to the next inversion, I want to be able to see this shape. It's a completely different shape now. It's a 5 and a 5 with a minor second in the middle and then a minor 10th in the outers. This is a completely different shape now and a different sound too. For some of you, you might not like this sound because of this minor second and this minor 10th at the top here. That might be kind of a tough sound for you to digest. Give it some time and just play with it. I know when I started this, I didn't like this sound to begin with. Then you go to the next one with G in the bass. This gives you a 4th and a 5th with a major 3rd and a major 10th. You see that? This is a completely different shape. Then your last shape is a 4th with a 4th. And you have that minor 3rd in the middle and the minor 9 at top. This is also a tough sound for a lot of newer students when we're learning drop 2. I also didn't like this sound to begin with. It's kind of a hard sound to, because of this, that B to C, it's not a pleasant sound to a lot of people for some reason. It's the overtone series, that's the reason. So, what we want to do is we want to practice this, and we want to practice as we go, seeing these shapes as we move from chord to chord, and take it slow. This is probably the hardest part for most people to do, is do this extremely slowly so you can see what the shape looks like as you move from chord to chord. And you do that for a little while. Just kind of go up and down, up and down. See, just don't worry about the metronome in the beginning. down, and take your time at your own pace, whatever's easiest for you, right? You do that for a little while. Then you add in the metronome. Now, when you add in the metronome, you do it slow enough that you can move and shift to the next one accurately. So if that means it's like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then that's what you got to do. If you want to take it faster, that's fine too. So like, how about like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You take it up to whatever tempo, whatever pace is easiest for you, okay, to get this. So what I recommend you do is we go from the root position down here, and we're going to go up each inversion all the way up to the octave, and then we're going to come back down. And I recommend that we do this about maybe 3 to 5 times. If you're a little bit more advanced, you can increase the amount of times you do or increase the tempo. But when we're starting this, I would start it off really slowly, and we're going to start off with just the root position, slow, go to the next one, take your time, then to the next one, then back down. Good, and the next one. Excellent. So this is what I recommend that we practice. So we're going to start with this. Take this and just go in the key of C major and get really good with that. Once you've gotten really good with that, do it a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And maybe just like count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that's how we practice this. Okay? So we need to understand that drop 2 has specific shapes. 4 and a 5, 5 and a 4, 4 and a 4, 5 and a 5. You're going to have different inner notes, minor thirds, major thirds, or minor seconds. Okay? And then you're also going to have major tenths, minor ninths in the top. Okay? Check this out first, and then we'll come back to the next one.